Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist, and today we're going to be doing the complete history of the RMS Baltic, the third ship of the Big Four, and what I like to call the Bro of the North Atlantic, due to the amount of ships she rescued, well, survivors of ships she rescued. So, well, without any further ado, let's take a look at the complete history of this ship. I've already said this twice now, so to stop these videos intros from becoming the same thing just longer each time, I have decided to speed this up, so let's get into it. As back in the late 1800s, the White Star Line designed a new ship that was to be the biggest in the world. This ship was to be called Celtic, and during her construction, the second ship of the Big Four had her keel laid, and during the construction of this second ship, which was to be called Cedric, the White Star decided that they would need a third ship in this class, and so, a month after her older sister was launched, the keel of this new ship was laid, beginning the construction process. Also, beginning the complete story of the RMS Baltic. The new ship was going to be called Baltic, and she'd be the second White Star ship to bear that name, and her yard number was 337. Now, during her construction, the White Star Line decided that they wanted the RMS Baltic to be the biggest ship in the world. Now, to make this dream a reality, they would have to make her hull longer. But there was one teensy-tiny little problem. Her hull was already built. So in a moment that probably made someone scream, they decided to cut open the Baltic's hull and extend her. But on the bright side, at least she'd be given an extra 3,000 tons in the process. Now, as for interiors, she had pretty similar ones to her sisters, so to stop this video from becoming a repeat of the other two videos, I'm just gonna move on to the next part, as on the 21st of November 1903, she was launched. And on the 24th of June the following year, the RMS Baltic was handed over to her brand new owners, and she made her way to Liverpool to start her maiden voyage. On the 29th of June 1904, the Baltic completed her maiden voyage under the command of the future captain of the RMS the Titanic, Edward John Smith. Now, you may remember earlier when I mentioned the Baltic being expanded during her construction. Well, due to this, the Baltic had a few slight technical difficulties that brought down the Baltic's speed. But either way, the Baltic served on the Liverpool to New York route. During this time, she proved popular with passengers, but her early career wasn't all sunshine and lollipops, as she had a few accidents. For example, in May of 1905, her machinery broke down, causing a slight delay of 6 hours. Then, on the 3rd of November, one of the Baltic's cargo holds caught fire, which was thankfully put under control, but unfortunately, the cotton in her hold was destroyed. Another incident was in 1907 when the Baltic collided with a barge full of coal, and then, in 1909, she caught fire yet again, causing $10,000 worth of damage. Soon after, the Republic would be in the limelight, but for a different reason. On the 23rd of January 1909, the RMS Republic was rammed by the Italian ship the Florida. Now, you might be wondering, what has this got to do with the Baltic? Well, you see, her wireless operator, Jack Binns, sent out a CQD message which the Baltic picked up and came to the aid of the Republic by taking the passengers off of the Florida, and because of this, when the Republic sunk, she had no casualties apart from the initial people lost in the collision. On the 10th of April 1912, the RMS Titanic left Southampton for New York, and during her maiden voyage she received many ice warnings from many ships, including the subject of our video, the Baltic. But despite everything, the Titanic collided with an iceberg, fatally wounding her, causing her to sink. But the ice warning was not the end of the Baltic's involvement in the sinking. And in fact, during the sinking, the Titanic sent out distress signals, and one of the ships to respond to the distress signals was the Baltic. But unfortunately, she was too far away to make it to the sinking liner, and the aftermath of the sinking led to the Baltic being given extra lifeboats. But time would soon prove that the Baltic would have much bigger things to worry about. As I've said a million times before this video, in 1914 an Austrian Archduke was shot in Serbia, plunging Europe into World War I. And due to this, the British government had the right to requisition any ship registered to a British port, including the Baltic. But she wasn't requisitioned straight away, and for a short period of time she continued her normal service, until late 1914. Where on one of her early voyages as an auxiliary cruiser, she collided with another ship at the exit of the Ambrose Channel. Then, in 1915, the Baltic was requisitioned as a troop ship, which was pretty uneventful until the 26th of April 1917, when a German U-boat tried to torpedo her, but failed miserably, and then started a pursuit with the Baltic, which eventually ended with the Baltic coming off unscathed. And then, in June of the same year, the Baltic would transport General John J. Pershing to England. Afterwards, she was awarded a plaque for this event, which would be on display in her dining room. Then, on the 11th of November 1918, the First World War came to an end. The Baltic would not be returned to her owners until December of that year. In 1921, the Baltic underwent a refit, which brought down her capacity for third-class passengers due to a drop in their numbers. Then, in 1924, the Baltic's boilers were replaced with new ones. Very interesting, I know. Then, in 1927, she was given a brand new tourist class to modernise her. She wasn't the only one of her class to receive this change, as her three other sisters was also given the same change. The Baltic would then again come to the rescue of another ship in 1929 as a schooner called the Northern Light was sinking. When the Baltic caught wind of it, she sailed over to the aid of the schooner. Then a month later, she collided with her dock, damaging one of her propeller blades, which took 9 hours to repair. But these times wouldn't last, as in 1929 the White Star Line was plunged into a crisis caused by the Great Depression. Then, to make matters worse for the Baltic, a newer, more economical ship joined the White Star fleet called the Titanic. And with the Baltic's passenger numbers dwindling, the White Star Line decided to sell the Baltic. And in 1933, she was sold to some Japanese shipbreakers along with the Megantic. The Baltic left for a final voyage to Osaka in February of the same year, where she would be broken up, which was finished by 1934, ending the life of the third ship in the Big Four, and my personal favourite ship of her class. Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist again. Just thought I'd say sorry about the wait on this one. Took me a while. Been a bit busy with my schoolwork and stuff like that, and it's probably going to be the same with next week. We most likely won't have a video out for next week. So I apologise, but it should be going back to normal soon, so stay tuned. If you haven't already, there's a poll on my community tab, which I now have. So on the poll, there is a voting, there is a bunch of ships for you to choose for what video, a bunch of videos that I've already started work on, and in which one, you can vote for which one you want to see next. So if you haven't already, please go and vote on that. But yeah, apart from that, there's not really much to say here, other than the fact that I absolutely adore the Baltic. She is one of my new favourite ships. But enough of the talking, I'm just going to say thank you all for watching, goodbye.